Hello everyone, this is gonna be another video here. We had the issue brought up with FPS and low FPS yesterday, but I couldn't really find the root of the whole problem. And well, I brought in my Watson, and that's Max. You can see him there.
Hey,
He's Max, say hi.
hi.
Great
This
stuff.
is Max. People know me as Max VD. I do workshop stuff sometimes, So, and like the FPS, it's annoying. I have a really high-end rig, and like, man, why am I getting 60 FPS in team fights with an i7 4770 and a 980 Ti? That's bad. So I wanted to, find the cause.
Right.
And I was like, man, back in Source 1, there was a really nice little thing you could do called plus show budget, and you would have like a performance graph in real time with the bars and stuff. And it turns out that still exists in Source 2, except it just outputs stuff to text file. It's profiling.
So that's why you use
So,
vprof.
yeah, yeah.
Vprof is
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yeah. So we use that a lot, or Max used it a lot, and we're gonna check out first of all like the vprof analysis of the demo I showed you yesterday. Then we're gonna go for a 90-minute necro game, which Max did on his PC, left open pretty much, and then we're gonna go to Tinker. And we're
Right.
gonna have some pretty interesting issues. So let's talk about this graph, Max.
Right. Right. So it's basically the same thing you said yesterday. You keep running the demo over and over and over, and performance keeps degrading, which goes hand in hand with the assumption that people had, which is, you shouldn't play a lot of games in a row because performance will keep degrading. So just restart your game after every second game or whatever. So like that confirms this again. That's set in stone. But the question is why? And what I did is every like 10 to 20 run, I vprofed a run of the benchmark. So at first, nothing's like really special. Like you have everything you would expect to be there. Really, there's nothing special to do about to say here. So the next vprof is on the 10th benchmark run. And what do we see? We see something called scale form rise up. So we go from 10% of the time spent on scale form to 14%. Scale form, for those who don't know, is the HUD system. It's actually the old HUD system. And actually the whole UI system in Source 1. It's deprecated, or rather it's meant to be all deprecated, but it's still used for the in-game UI, the HUD. It's being replaced by Panorama, the new fancy UI system that's like, using HTML and CSS and JavaScript or whatever, and which is very nice and very optimized. But Scaleform is still used for the HUD and the other in-game elements. So yeah, Scaleform is rising. That's kind of worrying. Nothing else is really rising. And in fact, other things like particles are lowering in the whole thing. Where is it? It's somewhere like, you see like build particle sim list. It went from like 2% to 1.8, something like this. This is where I wish I had like circled it because there's so many things to go through. It went from 2 to 1.8. Anyway, we're just gonna go skip straight to the last run, which is like, 85 runs. And what do we have? We have scale form now at almost 30% of all the time spent, which is astonishingly bad. So remember, this is a 35 second demo, sorry. And there's 9.6 seconds of CPU time spent entirely on scale form. While the game itself, like, it's just taking 7 seconds to render. So scale form is literally taking more time to render than the game. And the theory is basically that every time, the game, it's just terrible.
I mean, we're gonna come back to the theory in just a bit after the necro game, because that's another interesting one. We're looking at the same plot once again. This is again vprof of the 90-minute necro game, and well, it looks different. It looks a lot different, actually.
Okay, so just to say a thing first. So before I did that benchmark, basically, I tried to like leave a 90-minute game. I actually wanted to do 4 hours, but then I noticed after 90 minutes, my frame rate isn't going down. I wonder what's up with that. So I left a 90-minute game running with necrophoses at each tower so that the towers didn't get pushed in. And, I left the camera on the mid lane and see, is my frame rate going to go down? And it actually barely went down. And it turns out scale form did not go up during that time. So as you can see, 7.7% at 40 minutes. And at 90 minutes, it was still at 7.7%. So, and none of the categories really went up. In fact, I do believe one of the main reasons my frame rate went down is because there's more scripts to simulate, because scripts get added as time goes on, but whatever.
I mean, basically it was still fine, right? You didn't have any huge issues like we saw from the graph in the first slide.
Yeah.
Right. So this is when it was very apparent that what looks, maybe Scaleform is only having issues when you reload it a lot. So if you want to play like 10 games in a row, maybe you want to restart in between. And that's kind of okay, I guess. I mean, it's not that big of an issue, right? But everyone still had like these huge issues with FPS, and there was even a front page thread about a Tinker Immortal having huge FPS issues. And well, let's we could actually take a look on the video scene real quick. Hopefully, this is the one. And you can see in the top left here.
I did that.
That's a great video, Max. By the way, we have like 120 FPS. Then Max is spamming the Tinker Immortal March. He's gonna speed up the video
in WTF mode.
Yeah, so it's a lot of marches. It's
like so pay attention. Pay attention to the frame rate average next to 60, because like it's a good figure to look at.
Right. Otherwise, it's hard to see actually. Yeah. But you can see it's like down to 70 FPS from 115-ish.
Yeah. So that's after spamming in WTF mode after like just 1 minute of spamming. So of course, like, I mean, that's maybe. I mean, even that's a lot of marcher machines, right? That's probably like twice as much as you would get in a normal game, even with Tinker rearming a lot and whatever. Yeah. And the other thing to note is that this does not happen nearly as much with the non-immortal marcher machines. Like, I would say maybe half as much, 40% as much.
Way less.
Yeah, nowhere near as much.
I tried it for like 20 minutes, just spamming March and March and March, and that was not a lot happening, just a bit. And this is the vProf.
Yeah. So now you pay attention to process speed system and build particle sim list. So keep in mind that's already after having spammed marcher machines once. That's what after this video that you just showed, because I did it a second time after that. We already have the particle stuff taking in total half of the CPU time, which is fucking crazy. Because like there's no particles on screen, like all the marcher machines particles are dead, like they're not emitting anymore, and yet the particle system is still taking 50% of the CPU time. And after spamming again, now we're up to 60. 60. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Does the core number array? I didn't pay attention to that.
No, it's kind of great. Yeah, it's 59.
Yeah, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah,
the point is,
the thing is, it's a lot. So if you really want to grind MMR, get a really good CPU, go spam Tinker marches, you're gonna run around with like 60 FPS, and everyone else is gonna be on 5. So yeah.
See, that's a really good idea. But here's the thing: the particle thing that gets reset in between maps. It does not affect performance. I've actually spammed, disconnected from my local game, then reconnected. Did the spam again, and so on and so on, and the frame rate always went back up to its original state. So the particles performance problem, you don't need to restart the game. What you need to restart the game for is Scaleform, because that does not get reset between games, basically.
Exactly. So just to wrap this up, so there's two huge issues right now, which we just found pretty much with like a couple hours of trying to find it. And on the one side, it's just reloading the game over and over again, means you get way less FPS because the UI is pretty weird. Hopefully Valve is going to go to Panorama soon, but until then Scaleform is still a thing, and Scaleform is not great. Seriously, you have to reset your whole client for that to be fixed. On the other side, we have the particles issue, and I mean, there might be more, right? There might be other immortals or some other hats which also spawn a lot of particles. Yeah. And we just don't know yet, right?
We don't really know yet. The Tinker marcher machine immortals is actually one of the most egregious immortals in terms of particle count, and maybe even like just actually particle initializers. It's really like a double Whopper quarter-pound cheeseburger of a fucking performance problem. It's
all right.
Yeah, we need a bypass surgery on this crap, basically.
All right, so we're all getting diabetes if we get more of this.
Yeah.
Sounds great. So this is pretty much it, right? I mean, this is the analysis. So
Yeah.
once again, I think
Right.
what is safe to say is
I do have one more addendum to
Okay.
say first, though.
Go.
And it's, if this is not a memory leak, please stop saying it's a memory leak. You don't know what a memory leak is.
It's not.
Yeah. Other thing, scale form, people are like, oh yeah, of course scale form is bad, it's Flash. No, this is Flash, yes, but it's not the same Flash as Adobe Flash Player or whatever. CSGO uses scale form too, and it's not a problem, just saying. But anyway, that's all I wanted to add. We are at the conclusion anyway. And yeah, basically, Valve, please fix.
Valve, please fix. Great outro. Alright, guys. See you next time. Hopefully with way more FPS than down the line. See ya.